All right, so in this video, I'm going to break down the second project in Unit 4. So again, we're going to be changing background colors on the background of the screen, but we're going to create a slightly different game using only one player and the gamepad. So if you read the objective here, it says in this programming assignment, you will create programs that use conditional statements and their variations, as well as user input and random numbers to create a color match game. Your program must be well documented, easy to read, and free of errors. So just like previously, if you look here, you can see that you must have the normal documentation at the beginning. You have your name, date, course, teacher, and a summary, and etc. This is introducing your project. Then from here, you need to carefully document throughout your program. So you need to have comments throughout near every conditional, every variable. Remember, you should never go more than a few lines of code without commenting. At the end of your program, you should have these 3 questions being answered so that I can see what you learned, what you liked and disliked, and then tweak in the future as needed. Here, you'll see that you should have a pseudocode written. It can be either typed or handwritten. All of the above documentation, easy to read code. So the only thing I forgot to throw in here, and I'm going to move this line up to the top, is when you turn in this project, you'll have a completed self-reflection form. You will have your pseudocode, which is on blue. And then you'll have a hard copy of the code, and this will be correctly shared in the hand-in folder. So remember, if you need help, please see Ms. Wardecki. This will be under your class and under your name. So make sure it's saved appropriately so that I can find it. And if you think you didn't save it correctly, please talk to me. So down here, you can see the requirements for Project 4B. It says, color match. You're going to create this ends up being a singular player game. So I know that your instructions may say multiplayer. It's a single player game called Color Match with the following requirements. So the game will randomly generate one of the random colors below using any method you choose. So what will happen at the very, very start of the game is that it will generate white, red, green, blue, yellow, turquoise, or violet. Note that black, which is 0, 0, 0, where no color is present, that's not an option. So here you can see that you're going to create a random color of one of these. Now I gave you the color combination. So the color combination for white is red 255, green 255, and blue will have an intensity of 255. To make red, you'll have red intensity at 255, green and blue at 0. To make green will have an intensity of 255, but red and blue will be set to 0. To make blue, you can see the rest, so on and so forth. So I put all the combinations as a combination for the red, green, and blue intensities. The red, it will be a 0 or 255. The green will be 0 or 255, and the blue will be 0 or 255. But again, note, black, which is 0, 0, 0, is not an option. So it must generate one of these 7 colors. Now you can choose any method you would like to create those 7 colors. So it's ultimately up to you. How do you want to choose whether red, green, and blue, the combination that they're creating, how do you want to choose these 7 colors? That's up to you. So then from there, once a random color has been created, the user must input the color combination exactly. And this means exactly. So I mean, you can see a couple examples here. If the color on the screen is red, the user has to press only red and not green and blue. So if they're pressing all 3 buttons, it should not switch. The only time the background color of the screen will switch is if the player is only pressing red. For violet, because violet is created with blue and red, violet will only clear from the screen when red and blue are pressed at the exact same time, and green is released. So it says when the correct color combination has been pressed, a new color will be randomly generated to the screen, and the game will continue until the user presses the back button to exit the game. So here you can see the beginning of my program. You can see my comments, everything starting at the beginning. If I press start, what you will notice is my game displays a color on the screen. So I can see red. So now if you're playing this game on your gamepad, what you'll notice if I press all 3 colors at the same time, which I'm doing right now, the color doesn't clear. The only time red will clear from the screen is if I'm only pressing red. Same thing for blue. Blue will only clear from the screen if I'm pressing blue. Yellow will only clear if I'm pressing red and green and not blue. red cleared because I was only pressing red. Purple will only clear if I am pressing red and blue. Yellow will only clear if I'm pressing red and green. White will clear if I'm pressing all three. So you can see the requirements here. You have to press the color combination exactly. And I mean, if it's blue like it is right now, blue will be pressed and the other two will not be pressed. And this game continues until you press the back button and you exit the game. So that's the very, very basic idea behind this game. If you have further questions, please let me know. Here are some questions that you should be pondering if you are stuck. So if you need to choose between 0 and 255 for red, green, and blue, how could you use with random numbers? How would generating random numbers tell you what to set to green, red, green, and blue? The other question you could ask yourself here is how am I going to decide which colors I want? So I have 7 colors up here. How am I going to decide which color I have on the screen? How can random numbers help me? Then it says, how will you know when the color is correct versus when the color is not yet correct? What buttons need to be pressed and released for each color displayed on the screen? And how will you know to generate a new color when black or all zeros is selected? Those are some questions for you to ponder, things for you to solve. An extension, if you finish early, is use time to control the amount of time the user has to input the correct color combination. If the user takes too long, then the game will automatically end. So just a way to extend your learning further if you feel like you're doing really well and you want to challenge yourself. That's an excellent way to do it. And again, just like normal, if you extend your knowledge further, I will, of course, give you credit if you happen to lose points elsewhere in the project. So there's the basic problem. Please let me know if you have any additional questions or you'd like to see this example in person with a game controller. But again, it's a single player with a controller color match game. So best of luck.